This game came out in 2017. Star Fox on the SNES was a great success, selling over 4 million copies. It was no wonder a sequel is in the works. Star Fox 2 began development right after the first one and was doing wonders. Sleek development overall, with the game reaching a 95% completion in 1995. However, it was that time when Nintendo stumbled out of the cave to see a new shining light. It was none other than Sony's PlayStation. And let me tell you, that shine was dazzling with insane performance, inventing new technology. 3D was actually a thing, not just a dream in the distance you need a whole starship to reach. Now everybody could have it, and it looked better than ever. No need for this crap. Nintendo were dazzled and took the brave decision to murder every piece of Star Fox 2 in cold blood and put it in the freezer. Definitely a development cycle. Star Fox 2 got the same fate as me having an opportunity of getting an Xbox at 6 years old. Do not worry, however, as we did get a savior 20 years later. That's right, I'm talking about the SNES Classic. The mini consoles, taking old systems, slapping 30 random games on an emulator, and voila! Here are some fucking idiots giving you money. These classic consoles were everywhere. After the NES Classic did so well, it made sense why other companies wanted to jump on the fun. People in their 40s just have a different taste. Okay, well, technically these weren't super different from other game compilations that just used emulated versions. They just had the whole console package and were a lot more expensive. The point that I'm making here is that the developers went out of the way to finish Star Fox 2 just for the SNES Classic, making the final official SNES game to ever release. 17 years later after the last official SNES game to ever release. What a crazy story. I've heard of games that started as Japan exclusives and then years later became officially available to the Western market, like Earthbound Beginnings and the first Fire Emblem, but I have never seen a company revive a game they themselves had killed years ago. So Star Fox 2, how much did it improve on the original and how much does it hold up today? Well, Star Fox 2 starts with a cool opening cutscene showing some cool graphics and the fact that the game was supposed to release in 1996. God, what a lineup! And speaking of the graphics, yeah, I'm still drowning. It's definitely a little better. I can actually see what's going on, but this is still just playable, and let's be honest, it can't really go beyond that. The story is basically the same. We still beat the shit out of a monkey, except that now we also beat the shit out of Leon S. Kennedy, Pigma Balls, and Wolf, which definitely had a color change in later iterations. Star Fox 2 changes a lot when it comes to its gameplay though, to a point when it really feels like the first game was just a little tech demo. A lot of new quality of life changes are present. Some I don't even get why they weren't put in the first game. For example, a reticle in the third person sections, which makes aiming so much more doable. The game is also structured a lot differently than the first game. While Star Fox will let you choose a route which has a series of levels you need to go through, Star Fox 2 places you in sort of a strategy map. Your goal this time is to destroy all of the enemy bases while protecting Cornelia from exploding. At the start of the game, spaceships and rockets would be placed down, and no matter what you'll do, they'll always proceed to Cornelia's direction. Yeah, so Star Fox 2 is actually on a time limit and asks you to act as quickly as you can. So, here I am on the map trying to navigate to the closest rocket, and when I say navigate, I mean move at the same speed as a Ubisoft trailing mission. Okay, so I got into the rocket and... oh my god! 3D environments is what Star Fox 2 brings to the table. While the original game was technically 3D, it was also a rail shooter, which kind of undermines itself. Yeah, sure, we got the third dimension, it's here, but you're only moving in one direction. I could get the same experience by doing drugs. Now, however, there is no need for drugs anymore, because this time we were actually able to move at our own pace. This is insane. Seriously, the fact that they were able to push something like this on a 16-bit console is no short of incredible. It's also incredible how low the FPS is. Yeah, for all that technical marvel, we also hit a new low. I don't know, this is an SNES game, but it was never released on an SNES cartridge, so I would kinda like if the game had a better suit for something that came out in 2017. I know, it's not gonna be authentic, but I would really appreciate an option to unlimit the frame rate. In any case, Star Fox 2 loves wasting your time, which is kind of ironic considering I just said how fast the game expects you to play itself, and because the game takes about an hour to beat. These missiles I talked about earlier are always on the map, and you have to get rid of them before they hit Corneria. Thing is, destroying them doesn't take really any effort. You just encounter them, shoot them a bunch of times, and bam, you're done. They are designed to waste your time, which is fine considering they take about 2 seconds to finish. But then you realize that time still moves while encountering other missions. This is where the speedrun aspect comes into the game. No matter what mission you're doing, or well, what thing you're trying to destroy, you have to do it as fast as possible. While starting the game, I was really mixed about this way. I just did not see Star Fox 2 as a speedrunning game, especially with that horrible frame rate. But the real problem comes in later, where the game just says, "Oh, did you think this was over?" and spews rockets everywhere. Just makes it a little repetitive, that's all. However, I did understand how this is the only part that genuinely brings tension, as without it the game's pretty boring, especially on harder difficulties. The structure of the game isn't the only thing that had a lot of changes, because comparing the gameplay from the first game is like comparing onions and potatoes, with one that makes you sick and another one that's pretty alright. And pretty alright it is, considering we got even more dogs this time. More playable characters is something I definitely never expected. All of the characters from the first game return and are now playable, with some newcomers being Mew and Faye. No longer do you need to protect your friends while ending up shooting them yourself. Star Fox 2 just lets you choose 2 characters and ends that business with that. Well, not really, there are a few differences with the characters. Fox and Falco are all rounded, Sleepy and Peppy are tanky, and Mew and Faye are the most agile. I always chose Fox, considering he's the most basic, the main character, and the fact that I have no goddamn creativity when it comes to these things. I really didn't care about the other playable characters, except for the bunny. I really fucking hate the bunny. The R-Wing is the thing that got the biggest change in the game. In some levels, if you go on your controller and press select, you will transform into the Walker. And this is the thing that makes the game such an upgrade. First of all, the fact that you can just transform whenever you want is mind-blowing and makes the sections when it is playable so much cooler. As the Walker, you basically have the same options as your regular form, except that you are actually able to control and move yourself. This isn't the same as the regular fights with your ship, as you have so much more control over yourself. It's amazing, it's like having no rules, you're free! Until you realize you're playing on 10 FPS. Yeah, people were fucking horrified when they played these sections back in the day. Imagine if this was your whole life and you had to close your eyes like 3 times in a second. Huh. Could be a shit horror game idea. Something else that I really like the developers implemented is the charge shot. From time to time, a rival boss could appear, which could be Wolf, Pigma, or a giant snake. I knew Bloodborne wasn't the first. The engagement these fights include could be summed up to going up to your enemy, shooting him a bunch of times, realizing that you did almost no damage, turning around and doing all of that again until after 3 years, 7,000 missiles you couldn't stop, you die. If this is what real dogfights look like, then I am so sorry for you military pilots. To combat those fights getting more stale than the gameplay of Assassin's Creed, the charge shot is there to let you do huge amounts of damage and finish the fights faster than most people quick marathon. Now, something that the first game had are the routes, which were basically just masked out difficulty options. Star Fox 2 rips those masks off and gives you the ability options right away. I played the game on both normal and hard, and once I understood that there are barely any differences between the two, I just skipped skip the third route. Star Fox 2 gets a 6.5 out of 10. You know, most people when they look at a game like this from the 90s, or at least one that was supposed to release in the 90s, as if they were already there. I don't particularly do that. Sure, I do take a game's impact into consideration, however, it all comes down to how much fun I had with the game. With the original Star Fox, I understood how much it did to the industry. The thing is, I did not have fun playing it. It was boring, unintuitive, and left a pretty awful taste in my mouth once the credits rolled. Star Fox 2, on the other hand, was everything the first game was, but get this, also fun. It is not the greatest game ever, but it is worth playing. Well, I guess this is the end. I've been traveling for months now, and there is nothing. It's all just shapes and colors lingering around. Kind of crazy how I didn't get motion sickness during this time, or how I'm not dead. But even then, I'm not stopping. Just waiting until something's gonna happen. Speaking of which... Alright now. Here we go now. Okay. Alright, let's do this. And so I'm laying on the chair in a weird position, hoping that one day I might get out of this mission, moving my hands and my legs like a bicycle to get out of the planet that has a lot of pickles. All this time I was thinking how I'm going to grow. However, now I get it. I'm not going with the flow. You might call this an escape of the working class, but I guess I was afraid of being taxed, yo. Then I thought about the fumbles, how my life is now in shambles. Not to get into the wrong fight. Now I'm back at playing Wii Sports all night, while getting rid of all of this goop. Turns out everybody's stuck in a loop. All the people stepping out of life, and in my case get hit by a knife. And as I continue in the depths of Super Mario Galaxy, a thought comes to my mind. Is all of this for me? All the noise, all the crap, all the shits and giggles, all gone with a void, sucking all of the people, because they bitch, because they scream, because they swear to absurdity. No wonder they all say it's the downfall of humanity. Even me and you are all so culprits. We gave our lives for this, and now it's their profit. And so you turn left and right with no directions. Every second you're deceived, but you have good intentions. When you're told to give up, you shut the f*** up. But all of us know you did not throw the cap. You wonder what in all this nonsense I am trying to get. But I will be real, I really don't know yet. As the seconds go on, I am losing my faith. So in the time I get left, you are gonna hear what I have to say. Loner levels are in new highs. Now there won't be any more lies, but there aren't many reasons to care when the rest of the world's been bared. When it's all thought to be said and done, then depression goes away and be gone. From the bottom of my heart I feel like there's something of sorts pushing me towards. Now I'll be going home.